everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is the absolutely amazing Fractal AM4. I love this little thing. The very kind folks at G66 kindly sent this to me for a couple of weeks to check out, and I have totally fallen in love with it because it is really powerful, sounds absolutely amazing, and hey, look at the size of it. It's really light as well. I love it. I want to throw this in my gig bag and keep it forever. Anyways, I have created a live and studio preset which I have been using for recording and also for jamming with a couple of my friends. And today I'm going to show you what I created and all the amps and effects which I put into my chains. So let's head over to my Mac and I will show you exactly what I did. This is going to be a proper deep dive, so grab yourself your favorite beverage, get comfortable, and let's get going. I have time coded everything so you can jump to the sections that you would like to check out. Let's do this. Enjoy. What a lovely sound. That's all AM4. All the effects, everything is coming from AM4. It's an absolutely phenomenal piece of gear. I totally love it. It is sitting on my desk right here, just out of shot. But I'll show you a shot because I have actually plugged in a couple of pedals into the front of this because I wanted to expand it, and I'll explain that in a second. But just a lovely sound. First, I want to give a huge shout out to one of my students actually, because that little track, which was very inspired by Queensryche, it was actually kind of co-written by myself and one of my students. He wanted to learn how to write in the style of Queensryche. His name is Ahmed. Absolutely amazing guy, such a great student, and I love teaching him. And he said to me, I'd love to learn how to write in this style. And I was like, all over it. Anyways, you're here to check out the tones. So the amp that you're hearing is actually the EVH 5150. Totally love that amp. I have one of those, the 6L6 version. I'm using the Stealth version on AM4. Let's check it out on the screen. So for all of this, I'm going to show you in AM4 Edit because it's just easier than showing you on the screen. But everything that I will show you today can be done either via AM4 Edit or via the AM4 itself. The AM4 is really intuitive for making tweaks and setting up presets and stuff like that. So do give it a go because it's not as hard as you might think. Alrighty, so here's my JP Live preset. And I have actually used this kind of live because I went and jammed with a couple of my friends about a week ago. And this worked absolutely amazingly well. So I have a clean sound here, which has a chorus in front of it. Then I have my rhythm sounds. I have two rhythm sounds actually, which is the 5153 Stealth blue channel and the 5153 red channel, because more is more, right? And then I have a lead channel, which actually has a little bit more delay and stuff like that on it. Now, the great thing about AM4 is that you can set it up like this in a single patch so that you have 4 different scenes. And that's all I need when I'm jamming with my friends. Even to do a gig, I could probably get away with this, to be honest. But here's my clean sound. It's a really lovely clean sound. Very lush sound. Now, I love clean sounds like this, so what I did here was I put a chorus in front first. Just have the warm stereo chorus. Didn't change any of the settings. I basically just left it where they were. It sounded great straight out of the box. The amp that I chose was the CA3 Plus Clean. It's one of my favorite clean amps within the Fractal verse, and it just has a chime to it. It has a tone to it. I love it. Hey, look, you just heard it, right? I'll end up playing all day if I don't show you what I've done here. Alrighty, so my gain is at 2.45, bass is a little higher at 6.1, mids I bumped up just a little bit, treble and presence I bumped up to 6.4 and 6.8 because I wanted it to be a bright chimey tone. And with the neck pickup on my Snakeskin Super Strat here, which is a Seymour Duncan SSL4 quarter pounder, just lovely pickup, works so well. A little bit of depth as well because I wanted that body in there as well. So when I play a big chord, even a big chord, there's plenty of depth there. Works really great when I'm playing live as well. And in the studio, I basically printed all of the effects that you heard on the track. Alrighty, so the cab that I chose for this was the 412 Friedman V30 with a condenser, and I activated the second cab and put a dynamic 2 mic on there as well, which I believe is a Sennheiser MD421 microphone emulation. I just liked how this cab sounded. I tested some of the other ones in the Dynacab range, some of the 112s and the 212s. I just like how the 412s sound, so I basically just stuck with that. And the Friedman had that chimey sound, so that's what ended up on the track. Now, I've also got a delay and reverb on here. The delay that I used was the dual delay, and I've got it dialed in with 398 milliseconds on one side and 700 on the other. This is kind of an SDE 3000, a Roland unit, and I just love the sound of it. I always love using an SDE 3000 sound, and this is the first one that I usually go to. This is the kind of EVH setting type of thing. Now on this one, I have the mix set at 34.3%, and I wanted the delay to be louder on my clean sounds than I did on my dirty sounds. So I'd actually set up a couple of dual delays with different mixes on them. So you'll see here it's 18.1, on this one it is 34, on this one, which is a dual delay as well, it's 20%. So depending on what I want to do, I can choose the channel which I need on the particular scene. This is one of the great things about the Fractalverse. We have these 4 channels per effect and amp. So in my amps, I have 4 channels, and I can have 4 different amplifiers here, right? And in my effects as well, I have 4 different channels here, so I can choose which one I want, and I can basically put whatever I want in there. I can choose whichever delay that I want. So if I wanted the 2209 with modulation, then I can set that up on one of the channels as well. But I like the sound of the dual delay. That's my default. Sounds really lush. This is how it kind of sounds. Yeah, lovely. Now I put that with the Cloud Stratocumulus reverb. This is a lovely sounding reverb. It has a really long tail on it. It's 20 seconds. So it does go on and on and on and on. You can reduce this to 10 seconds. I often do when I'm recording because between takes, it just takes ages for the reverb to die down. So I kind of figured that, you know what, I can change this to 10 seconds and then it's still lush, but you know what, it's gonna stop a little bit earlier. Alrighty, so that's my clean patch. Let's go on to my first overdrive patch, which is my first rhythm patch. Alrighty, so my scene number 2 is actually my first drive sound, and this is a 5153 100-watt Stealth, the blue channel. I love this channel on my 606 version. I don't have the Stealth, but trust me, the 606 is just as pokey. It has plenty of gain. It just has this structure to it. Love the sound. So I actually set this up kind of like I set up my real amp. So I have the gain at 8. The bass is a little bit under 5, so 4.8. Then the mids, I scooped them out a little bit because I wanted that kind of, the trebly sound, and it was sounding a little too full, so pulled a little bit of those out. Treble is at 6.7, presence is at 7.6, then the depth is actually quite high, and it just sounds great. This is such a fantastic sounding amp. Lovely. And the cab that I used with this sound is the 5153 Stealth on both sides. I used a ribbon mic on one side and a dynamic mic on the other. And it is a different blend here. The ribbon mic is actually at 24.6% and the dynamic mic is at 75%. I like to do this blend because the dynamic mic is a little bit brighter, more mid-focused, and the ribbon mic is darker, adds some body to the sound. Now, I do have some effects on here as well. So you'll see that I have switched off the chorus, but my delay is a dual delay. And I've set this up kind of EVH style. This is essentially kind of like an SDE 3000 style of delay. So I have 350 milliseconds on one side, 700 on the other. And then the rest of the settings I just left alone, just did the mix to 20%, which is where I like it to be. And one of the nice things about the Fractalverse is that we have our channels here, and I have 4 different delays actually dialed in. If I go to channel C, then I have a ping pong delay. So I have the best of both worlds. I can choose what I want on my individual patches, but the dual delay sounds really good to me. I like the sound of it. Kind of just sits there, slightly out of the way, doesn't kind of interfere with the main tone and stuff like that. Alrighty. My reverb here is the Cloud Stratocumulus. The reverbs in this thing are just insanely cool. Now this is a 20-second time on here. Now I did find myself actually reducing that to 10 seconds because it was just so long and so lush sounding, but I loved the sound of it. But it gave me that really big sound on my guitar. The nice thing is you can hear it, but only when I stop playing, so it doesn't seem to kind of just wash out my guitar sound. My guitar sound is still punchy. My second overdrive patch is actually the red channel on the EVH 5150 Stealth. And I love the sound of this one as well. It's more compressed sounding, and I have it dialed in pretty similar to the blue channel. It just works for me. These are the settings that work. I do it by my ear and just set it and leave it. It's great. I love it. Now this one has a slightly different sound from the blue channel, which is why I set it up. And then when I double track, basically do the blue channel on one side, the red channel on the other, and it gives me a bigger sound from my guitars. So this is how this one sounds. So you can probably hear that there's a little bit more gain going on. It's compressed sounding as well. Now, often what I'll do is I'll go into Expert Edit and I will play with the preamp and also the power amp. So in the preamp here, you know, sometimes what I do is I change the tubes over to, let's say, the Sylvania 12AX7. I love the sound of this tube. It's a little bit different sounding from this 12AX7A. Has a little bit more poke to it, the Sylvania. Yeah, that's really cool. I'm going to save that actually. Before I do anything else, I'm going to save that because it sounds great. All right, back to Expert Edit and going over to the power section. This is a place I really like to make some changes. The first change I make is to the bias grid, and I usually put this on 70% because, again, it just gives a little bit more poke to the sound. So gives me the feel that I want. Feels a little bit more spiky, feels a little bit more angry. That's what I'm looking for. You can also change the power tubes as well. They do make a difference. We can check out the Svetlana 606 GCs. They sound good, but I do like the GEs a lot because they're a little bit brighter sounding. So I'm going to leave it at that. This is a great place to make changes to the cabinet as well, because you can actually change things like the mic preamp. I don't have one on here at the moment. Sometimes I put one in, and I usually go for something like the Transformer or the Vintage, which actually adds a little bit of something to the sound. So without it, if I turn this off, if I turn it on to the Vintage, I like how that sounds. It's rolled off a little bit of high end, but in a very, very pleasing way. The high end is still there. It's still pokey, but it's doing something. One of the other things I like to do is add some room sound sometimes. Now, because this is a live patch, I tend not to add it to my live patch, but we can play around with this and see what this does. This will actually place it in a real room situation, so it gives you some ambience. This is different from the reverb. So if I actually turn off the reverb for the time being and also the delay, and then give you the dry signal from the amp, this is how it sounds. Even dry, this sounds amazing. This AM4 just sounds amazing, even without anything there. All right, let's add some room level to it. I'll add about 20%. You'll see what this does. It does two things. Check this out. Now, adds some ambience. It basically puts the cab in a room, so you can probably hear a little bit of kind of slapback delay type of thing going on. And that's because when you have a room, you're hearing the sound bouncing off the walls and stuff. That's what this is emulating. So it's different from a regular reverb. I would probably put it at about 6 or 7%. The other thing that it's doing, it's adding some mid-range in there, but different mid-range from if you just turned up the mid-range dial. So I can put it at 0 again, and about 7% again. Sounding really good, but as this is my live patch, I'm going to turn that off. All right, let's turn these effects back on so that I have my patch as it is. I'm going to save this because that sounded great. Now, I have to have a lead patch when I play live because, hey, I play solos. I have to be able to play solos. Use the same 5153 amp, but all I did was change the delay, and this is the dual delay, but at 34%. And for the reverb, I've stuck with the Stratocumulus because I really like the sound of that. So here's my lead sound. Now that might sound like a lot of delay right now, but I'm always thinking about how it sounds in a mix. So whether I'm recording or whether I'm on stage, I know that the delays need to be a little bit louder in order to be heard. Otherwise, if you just have the delay at a low level, let's say about 10% or 15%, often it gets completely and utterly lost. You can kind of make it out, kind of, sort of, you know, maybe. But I like that delay to be front and center. I want somebody to hear the delay when I'm playing a solo. Now, when you have a bass player and a drummer and a keyboard player, maybe a second guitar player, it does get lost a little bit. So you do need to dial it up a little bit. Just a little tip for you if you want to set up a live sound. All right, so that's my live preset. And like I said, I have actually jammed with a couple of friends with this preset, and I was switching between stuff. I'll show you a little clip because this was so much fun to do. Hey guys and girls, if you're digging this video, then make sure that you smash the subscribe button and hit the bell notification as well, because I'll be doing more Fractal deep dives in the future and I don't want you guys to miss them. All right, let's get back to the presets and the patches and this amazing Fractal AM4. Let's do it. One of the things I did with this live preset was I created a no cab preset as well. So if I'm plugging into, let's say, the return on an amp, then I don't want the cab emulation to be there as well. And how you switch this off is that you go to your amp block here, go into expert edit, and you go over to your cabinet, and you can actually bypass or engage your cab there. So that's what I did for all of the amps in this preset here. It's basically just a duplicate of my live preset and it just doesn't have the cabs engaged. And this is what I did when you heard me playing with my friends there. I basically went into the return on a Boss Katana Mark II. It was a 50 watt and it had a power amp in on the back of there. So that's all I did. But I tried it with my live patch, but it sounded kind of, well, cab on cab. And then I switched it to my live no cab and it sounded much better because it was just using the speaker and the cab on the Katana. Now right next to my live patch I have my leads patch. Now this is a cool one because, well, hey, why not? 4 different lead sounds, just in case I need 4 different lead sounds on stage, right? 4 different amplifiers on this one, 4 different delays, 4 different reverbs. It's pretty cool. I use this one for recording a lot. So in scene 1 here, I have an SLO with a dual delay, and then I have the large plate reverb on there. In scene 2 here, I have a Cameron, a CCV2, which has a phaser in front of it, and the delay is a ping pong delay this time, and the reverb is St. George's Church Hall. Yeah, I can do that because I have these 4 different channels. I can do whatever I want, right? so the phaser that I have is a Script 90. I love the sound of this. And this one sounds like this. Lovely, lush phaser sound there. In scene 3, I have a Splawn Quick Rod. Again, I absolutely adore the sound of this amplifier. In fact, when I got my Fractal FM9, this is the first amplifier that I actually dialed in because it's a juiced up Marshall style amplifier, right? All of these amps have a slightly different sonic signature, which is why I've set them up like this. The delay is a dual delay again, and the reverb is the gold plate this time on channel C. And this actually sounds like this. Different from the other amps, right? This is why I set these up, so that I can get different tones. All right, number 4 is slightly lower gain. This is a little bit more mellow. This is a Trainwreck amp, which I put in there because why not, right? I have a phaser in front of it. This is a different phaser. This is the Borg phaser. Star Trek fans, you will know what I am talking about. The delay I have here is a lo-fi tape this time because I tried it out and it sounded great. And the reverb is the SFX Centaurus. Yeah, I had to read that for a second. Now this one's a lovely, lovely sounding amplifier. I often use that one for the mellower solos on the neck pickup or in the middle position. Awesome, awesome sounding patch there. The last patch that I'm going to show you is my bass patch. Now, obviously got my guitar here and I can play, but yeah, yeah. Anyways, so the amplifier that I have going on is the SV Bass one. Then I have a GEQ going on. Now, I basically took these settings from my FM9 because I have a bass patch on there, which I really, really like. And I wanted to emulate that on the AM4. So it's kind of scooped out a little bit of the mids, and it's added a little bit of high end in there as well. Have a compressor after that, and it's the VCA bus compressor. Then a tiny bit of reverb, just a very, very small amount, just to give it some space. Now, I also added in a little bit of room sound to this one as well. So there's 20% room sound here because I wanted it to sound like the bass was in a room. And it does real wonders for my bass sound, which you'll hear on the track in a second. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I have a couple of pedals plugged into the front of the AM4 as well, because what I wanted to do was set up a different clean patch. And I set up this clean patch, which was actually already programmed into the AM4. And I basically just tweaked it a little bit. So what I've done here is I wanted a stereo spread on a clean sound, which is what you'll hear on the track in a second. So I set up my amp, then an enhancer, which is essentially a stereoizer. So if I play my clean sound now, big and wide, right? It's pretty amazing how that sounds. Then I have a delay, which is the dual delay, and the reverb is the Cloud Nimbostratus. Yes. Because why not? It's a lush sounding reverb. All the cloud reverbs on this sound really, really good. I don't actually use any of the other patches on here, or the scenes I should say, on here. It's just that clean sound. I wanted that. But it also meant that I did not have a chorus or a compressor on there, and I wanted that. So on my desk here, I have my Universal Audio 1176 compressor, and I have my Flatly Valkyrie chorus pedal as well. So I just added them in front. The AM4 is designed to be expanded, hence the pedals. No harm in doing that. It's a cool little unit because it is so compact. So here's my sound with and without the compressor. So adding in that little bit of compression, which I wanted on my clean patch. The Valkyrie is an awesome pedal. It's such a lush sounding chorus. So for this track, because it was a Queensryche inspired track, I wanted to add in that chorusy sound into the clean sound. So I just added this in front. This is how it sounds. I could literally sit here all day and play for you guys and play for myself as well, because these tones are just so inspiring. Anyways, I shall leave it there because I know this is a long video already. But I hope that this shows you the possibilities with AM4. I know it only has 4 blocks, but there is so much packed into it, and it is so expandable and so easily dialable that, hey, you know, that's the reason I fell in love with it, because like I said in my main video when I did the review, took it out of the box, 5 minutes later I had my first preset done, and 20 minutes later I had literally written that track, which you will hear on the full review if you go and check that out as well. I love it. It's awesome. I hope this helped. If you guys would like to check out these presets, then they are all available on my Gumroad page, so please do head over to there. And if you would like to support the channel, then head over to my Patreon. There's a ton of cool stuff there, a great community, and I sometimes post my Fractal presets for absolutely free for my Patreon supporters as well. Thanks so much. So there you go, that's what I created. This little thing can be gigged very, very, very easily because of the scenes function, because of the fact that I can switch between presets seamlessly, the fact that I can actually switch between amps on the fly as well if I want to. There's so much possibility with the AM4. I love that it has 4-foot switches on the front. It makes my life when I'm playing live really easy. And in the studio, look, this sits on my desk. It is so compact and small and sounds amazing. Works really well with the pedals as well, doesn't it? That's what this is designed for. If you want to expand it, then just add a couple of pedals like I did. You know, my chorus pedal and my compressor as well. It worked fantastically well with this. If you enjoyed this one, you know the drill. Smash that subscribe button, hit the bell notification because I will be doing more Fractal tutorials in the future. Also, give it a like, a hype, and leave a comment as well. I would love to know what you think of the Fractal AM4. And if you haven't seen my full review of it, then I will leave a link somewhere up here so that you guys can go and check it out because this thing is totally spectacular. Time for the full track. Yeah, I went proper Queensryche with this. Enjoy it and have an amazing day. Bye for now.